This was on my to-do list, and it's very important. It's time. I should have mentioned this last week. So H&R Block is hiring, as is probably Jackson Hewitt and other of these tax prep companies who are in anticipation of next year's tax season, are starting to recruit people for it now so that you get enough time for adequate training to go and be able to do and prepare taxes. Now, you may say, but Cappy, I don't want to learn how to do taxes. I want to work with children, and I'm really good with babies, and I want to make $170,000 a year. And I'm not really a numbers person. I'm kind of more like an emotional. Okay, well, then enjoy being poor. But in the meantime, for those of you who would actually like to maybe have an okay shot at having a living wage, you may want to entertain the world of accounting, specifically taxes. Now, it is no secret that me and Chad, my CPA tax accountant friend, we've put together a course called The World's Greatest Accounting Career, because even in spite of all the problems with the accounting industry, we still think it's one of the better fields to get into. It is also one of the fields where you do not need a college degree to have a modicum of success. And one of the ways you can do that is working directly for one of these tax prep companies. This then opens up the ability for you to get what's called the enrolled agent certification. No college degree required, where you get training paid for by Jackson Hewitt, H&R Block, all that other stuff. But you also get experience doing taxes, and then you would go on to get your enrolled agent certification, which then would allow you to, what is that? Work for yourself and remotely. Or work your way up at H&R Block or a tax prep company. Who knows? Maybe you become president and CEO of Jackson Hewitt. You do not have to do the Liberty Tax thing. You don't have to dress like the Statue of Liberty, but you could work for Liberty Tax. They might be opening enrollment for training for next year's tax season as well. But now is the time, because what we have, it's like enrolling for college. You got to apply for the college a year in advance. Kind of the same thing here. You don't want to wait for tax season because it's too late by that time. So what I would do, take a look at Jackson Hewitt, H&R Block, any of the other tax prep companies, see if they have a training program. It's not going to hurt you if you have a little bit of college or whatever. Show up on time for the interview if there is one. Please don't be a moron. Shave, smell good, bathe before you go in for the interview. And I will, I'm always funny, haha, tongue-in-cheek, acerbic, cynical Cappy. But I'll tell you this right now, unless you're going to go major in engineering, even now it looks like we can't wait. We're going to get rid of all of our stuff to AI and also all of our jobs over there. I don't think white-collar work is long for this world. But you know what people in America would like? English native-speaking Americans to do their taxes. I know it's boring. I know it's not what your kindergarten teacher said you could do, because she was a fucking idiot. I become a kindergarten teacher. Pacifier. Pow. The adult children known as your teachers told you could do, or they think, no, that's not true. That's not true. This is a pretty good field to consider. And I recommend going and doing some research. And if you think, well, yeah, I would like to work remotely. Inevitably, I would like to work remotely. I know taxes are boring and they suck, but I would like to work for myself. Well, starts by going and working for an accounting firm. And right now, instead of look, here's the other thing. I by the way, I do own like 20 shares of H&R Block. I'm a big time shareholder. The one thing that can be said for these strip mall tax prep services, butt end of jokes as they all might be, they do allow you to get working experience in accounting, and specifically taxes, obviously. The other option is you go to Ernst & Young or Deloitte & Touche or PricewaterhouseCoopers or one of the mid-size. You go to one of these like real accounting firms, like the big ones. Well, you go to their corporate headquarters, then you got to walk about 2.5 miles down the road and start sucking their 2.5 mile dick to maybe get a job there. and you got to have a bachelor's required, master's preferred. You got to come downtown where all the action is, and they expect 120 hours, or you just work 4 months out of the year during tax season, and then another month or two during extension season. For H&R Block, you maintain your regular job. You don't have to get no college degree. You don't have to suck the 2.5 mile Ernst and Young dick. You don't have to go downtown and pay for parking and get shot. You just, you go into the local office, you do the tax. It's going to suck. It's not going to be good. It's going to suck. But it's going to suck less than working for the big four. And then you got your experience, and then you go get your EA certification, and then you're probably within 3 years' time on the high end, probably 2 if you got 2 tax seasons in there. You could go strike out on your own, do your own taxes. You can run your own company from your own place, self-employed, remotely employed, and you never had to set foot in a college classroom. So there you go. I know a lot of you were interested in this path. A lot of you have taken that course through the world's greatest accounting career, which I have linked below. Now is the time to go and start on that if that's the path you want to go down. For those of you who are looking for a job and a career, may I recommend that you do a little bit of research tonight? Like, what's it like working in accounting? Research that on the YouTubes. Anyone says it's fun and exciting, no, they're lying. They're lying. It is not fun and exciting. It is boring. It is boring, but it can pay well. And as I said before, it lends itself very well to remote and self-employment with some dues and time put in. And if you find out that, yeah, this is kind of interesting, I recommend you take the course I have linked below called The World's Greatest Accounting Career. Find it on Teachable. And that teaches you how to go and where to go and all the different routes and paths there is in accounting. And above all else, how to do it cheap and affordably and quickly as possible. All right, that's it. Link below. See you guys later, Toodles.